Jared and Shanna, I've known a lot of people that got divorced, even including in my own family. I've never seen anyone with the venom and hatred as Jared. He was just you know what I mean? Like, to me, he was an angry person. Okay? He hated Shanna. Everyone thought he hated Shanna. I thought he was obsessed with Shanna, personally.
And I'll have you take a seat over here. And what I'll do, actually, if you want to face the wall for me. So what I'll do is I don't want to keep you in these cuffs for a long time. I know they kind of hurt. So what I'll do is I'll take one hand out, and I'm just going to attach it to the railing right there, all right? Yep. If you want to take that hand, place the top of your head for me. And if you want to step to your left or turn the other way, I'll have you take a seat.
This one?
Turn the other way for me. All right. And then if you want to take a seat for me. No, you're okay. I'm just going to scoot you a little bit. All right, there you go.
On August 17, 2023, Shanna Gardner was arrested in West Richland, Washington, more than a year after Jared Bridegan was shot and killed in Florida. But this story did not begin with her arrest. Years earlier, Shanna and Jared had gone through a bitter divorce. What followed was a prolonged conflict involving custody, religion, money, new relationships, and repeated court disputes. Prosecutors now allege that this history provides part of the motive behind Jared's murder. Shanna Gardner denies the allegations and has pleaded not guilty. To understand that theory, we have to look beyond the night of the shooting and examine what people close to the former couple later told investigators. One of those people was Kim Jensen. Kim had known Jared and his family for years. During Jared and Shanna's marriage, she became one of Shanna's closest friends and says she remained closely involved throughout the divorce and its aftermath. She spoke to detectives in 2 lengthy recorded interviews. Her account is deeply personal, openly sympathetic towards Shanna, and strongly critical of Jared. It should not be treated as a neutral version of events. But it gives us a rare look at how one person close to the conflict understood the marriage, the custody battle, and the hostility that continued long after the divorce. And that is where we begin.
Oh, I've known Jared and his family since he was like 12 or 13 years old. Okay. Whenever they moved to Jacksonville from wherever they moved. We were never close, but I've known him since he was a kid. I knew the girls that he dated when he was a teenager. I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I've known that family for probably 20 years.
Okay. Do you go to the same church as them? You're in the same ward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about Jared and his family, from what you can remember. Anything stand out?
We were never friends. I knew his mother. I was friendly. I'm one of those people that I'm just, what you see is what you get. I'm real. If I don't like you, I won't be friends with you, but I will be kind. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say good morning and keep on walking down the hall of the church, whatever.
Of course.
So I knew his family from a distance. I did attend a baby shower or 2 that maybe his mom hosted at their home, but we were never close by any means. Jared was he was kind of quiet as a kid. He never had a lot of friends. The girls he dated in the church, 2 things that I remember always: never dated a girl that wasn't loaded with money, and never didn't end the relationship that everyone talked about what a jerk he was. He was the guy that broke the girls' hearts. He was, you know, he puts on, you know what I mean? He would be nice at first, and then the real Jared would come out. Okay. then I met Shanna. I knew about Shanna when he married her, because his mom was so excited because she was, from this rich family, and their life was going to be so great and blah blah blah. And then she had twins, and ended up having pulmonary hypertension, and they had to move to Florida. So I met Shanna about maybe 8.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I have twins. So, and she actually was one of my teenage daughter's teachers in the youth program.
Okay.
And so she and I got to be friends while she was still married to Jared, because number one, I knew his family. Number two, I felt sorry for her that she married him. Number three, she taught my kid, and we kind of had that common bond with the twin thing.
Gotcha.
So that's how she and I became friends.
Okay.
And then as time went on, probably within a year of them moving here, like, she and I became better and better friends. And now, I probably talk to Shanna 5-6 times a week, maybe every day.
Okay, so you say you guys are really good friends.
We're really good friends.
Yeah.
We're really good friends. I was one of the few people who stood beside her when they got divorced. When the divorce happened, like, I knew that she was going to tell him, kind of a thing. I knew he was going to flip out, just because of the personality that I had always remembered or whatever. He went around and he accused her of having an affair to everyone. And the way it worked was, at the very beginning, the kids would be with her from, for 2 days, and then they kept them at the home, and then for 3 days she'd have them, and then it kind of went back and forth on a 2-3 kind of thing. And the days that she did not have the children, she oftentimes spent the night at my house, and he was around telling her, oh, she's off, she didn't come home last night, she's sleeping with it, and she was on my couch. She didn't sleep with anybody. So it was not hard for me to stand by her, because I knew where she was, because she was with me most of the time. We kind of like adopted her and the kids, and so that's how she and I became better friends than we were, and why we are good friends today.
Kim Jensen was not a neutral observer. By her own account, she had become one of Shanna Gardner's closest friends and one of the few people who stood beside her throughout the divorce. Her description of Jared was deeply personal and often harsh. Some of what she told detectives came from things she says she witnessed herself. Other parts reflected what Shanna had shared with her over the years. That distinction matters. Kim's interview does not establish what happened between Jared and Shanna as fact, but it shows how one of Shanna's closest confidants understood the marriage, the divorce, and the conflict that followed. And according to Kim, that conflict became especially intense once the couple separated and began sharing custody of their twins.
So what would you say what would you see that kind of happened, since you were so close to it, after their divorce? How was Shanna? What was her demeanor? And
So Shanna, after the divorce, Shanna struggled hard emotionally. She struggled hard emotionally. She had 3 jobs. He continued to not work. I think their divorce was final, like, in July, maybe? It was 7 years ago, but I think it was July was the month that it was final. And she had 3 jobs. He had a job. Actually, I take that back. He got a job once she filed for divorce.
Gotcha.
And then as soon as the divorce proceedings were going and child support came up, he emailed his boss, because the lawyer was able to get HR records, emailed his boss and said he was no longer able to work because of his personal situation. However, he did continue to work, and they paid him under the table. He just didn't want it to look like he worked on paper, so he wouldn't be charged with child support, because he was bitter that her family had money, and he didn't think he should have to pay child support when her family was rich.
Gotcha.
But they were his kids, not her family's kids. So, you know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah.
that whole,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're a dad. That's your job. You know what I mean? You pay for the kids. She worked 3 jobs. She was exhausted. But I mean, There was never a custody battle. I mean, that was determined at the divorce. It was 50-50. You know, the only thing that ever changed with custody was they realized that as the kids got older, I think by the time they were 4, the 2-day, 3-day, the kids never knew, even at school, am I going home with mom? Am I going home with dad? Like, it got too hard on them doing too many switches too soon. And so they themselves decided to try week on, week off.
Right.
With a date night on Wednesday in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And they put that in practice for a few months to just try it out. And the kids were happier. They were happier. That midweek breakup gave, the other parent to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then but that was just between them. And so he would try to hold her hostage over that. It was like, okay, well, I have something coming up, and if you don't agree to make this timeshare switch or this week switch, the kids won't be available on date night. And so he always tried to use the kids to get what he wanted from her.
It's like a leveraging tool, kind of.
Yeah, like he used them like pawns.
Yeah.
And so I said, take him back to court and make it permanent. It's working. We can work with it. If the judge signs it, then he can't hold date night hostage.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, and he'll have to abide by it. He always tried to take that off the table, always, through all, as the kids get older, they're going to have extracurriculars, it's not going to be feasible. And her thing, everything he ever threw at her was, she would go to the kids and she would say, do you guys like date night? Do you want to do date night? Yes, Mom. She's like, okay. And so she would fight. If they wanted it, she fought for it.
Yeah.
To me, like, Shanna was always like the best example of a mom because she always put her kids first.
Mm-hmm.
If it was important to them, she fought for it. If it was something they didn't care about, it's not worth fighting for it because they don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Her kids' mental and emotional and physical well-being was always her number one priority. Always. And part of it was Jared wanted them to hate Shanna as much as he did. To me, I don't care who you are, and I've got siblings who are divorced and have kids and whatever. Mm-hmm. My number one rule is, I'm going to love you the best I can at my house, and Dad's going to love you the best the way he can at his house. Mm-hmm. And how I feel about your dad should never be relayed to you if you're the kid.
100% I agree.
That's my job, is to protect you.
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to love you. And Shanna always did that. It could have been the day from hell with emails back and forth and this, that, and the other, and they would say something about him, and her response was always very simple. It was, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Or, I'm sorry that Dad made you sad.
Yeah.
Or she never said, it was never, I understand. You know what I mean? Like, she never engaged in that, ever. Gotcha. Whereas the kids themselves, because I spent a lot of time with the kids, I love the kids, and they would say, I get in trouble if I say anything about my mom at my dad's house. My dad hates my mom. That makes me very sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they would tell you, In fact, one time they told Shanna, and did not want me to find out because she was so embarrassed. He told them that they shouldn't do anything with me because I was bad. So anyone who was friends with Shanna, you're automatically bad.
Oh, I gotcha.
So I'm a bad person. So, you know what I mean? It was just that. I just feel like when it came to Shanna, it was toxic, Mm-hmm. But I never witnessed anything other than, you know what I mean? Sometimes she'd put them in bed, she'd call me, and she's sobbing because I had to tell, you know what I mean? I had to just sit there and let them tell me whatever, you know what I mean? And, I always admired that part of her motherhood, mm-hmm. is that she always put them first and always felt that it would be detrimental if she ever said anything bad about him. There was even an IEP meeting at a school where the guidance counselor, like, he wanted, if there was a meeting for the kids, he wanted there to be 2 separate meetings so he didn't have to be in the same room with Shanna. Mm-hmm. Guidance counselor told him, no, we got to get all these people together. It's one meeting. You can either get the notes or you can be there. Yeah. So he would always sit, always in the corner, never would say a word, never would be near her, wouldn't make eye contact. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Mm-hmm. And the guidance counselor even asked her, how long have you been divorced? After it was over. She's like, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. And she was like, something's wrong with him, because you shouldn't trigger him the way you trigger him after this much time. If it had been 3 months, okay, I get it. But that, you know what I mean? Like, so everyone saw that. The teachers all saw. He was just weirdly opposed to being even near her. And when he married Kirsten, so like Jared has horrible grammar, horrible spelling. Like, it's like 3rd grade gone bad. You just want to get your red pen out and just go to town or cry if you're reading it. And when he married her, everything changed, and it was 100% obvious that she was drafting the emails. Always passive aggressive, always, you know what I mean? But you knew it was her, because he didn't just get literate, you know what I mean? He always struggled in school, you know what I mean? Like, that was the thing. But anyway, so I think that the two of them enjoyed making Shanna's life hard. You know what I mean? Sending things that would hurt her. They would say things that were just hurtful. You know what I mean? And I in my initial thought was, well, the only way that she keeps his memory alive is to keep doing that. I'll make everyone hate her. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I first thought that, but now, as I've given it more and more thought, I think she's setting her up. I think Kirsten is setting Shanna up for a civil suit for wrongful death. Because in a criminal court, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. In civil, it's what, 51%? You know what I mean? Like, what you just got to have people feel sorry for you and be on your side, and she knows Shanna got money, and you just got to sell your story. Which, you know, she set Shanna up from the get-go. She told her from day one, don't say his name, don't talk to reporters, don't let anyone interview you. You know, she was going to sue the school because they put out an email saying, you know, everything we can do. And then 3 weeks later, she's on national freaking television. You know what I mean? Like, I think that 3 weeks gave her the time to create this narrative that Shanna did it. But if you even knew Shanna would never do anything that would hurt her kids. Ever. She just wouldn't. That's not what she's made of. Her kids, I mean, she had a kid that was at the brink of death. You know what I mean? Like, he was born and he wasn't going to survive. They didn't think Liam was going to live. You know? I mean, her entire life has been her kids and protecting them.
I get that.
You know, I mean, that's anyone who knows the real Shanna, not the story that you've been spun off by the Bridigans that, you know, she's a whore and she'll sleep with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you know Shanna, her kids, that's all she ever wanted was kids. In fact, if you ask her if she regrets marrying Jared, she'll tell you no, because she wouldn't have her kids. You know, I mean, and for all the things he did to her, you know what I mean? That's not your typical answer for someone who's spinning out about, you know what I mean? How can I get rid of him? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always, every decision she made through her marriage and her divorce was always, how will this affect my kids? That was always her first question. Always. So, I don't know. And I might be wrong about her setting Shanna up for the suit or whatever, but I can see that coming.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I know you don't know, but I'm just saying, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I can see it coming. It just seems like all the makings of, you know what I mean, of what's coming. Because you don't have to prove who killed him.
Not in a civil suit.
Not in a civil suit. No. You don't have to prove that. I mean, I know how the legal system works. My dad was a DA. I get it. I spent many a time in the courtroom. I know how this works, and you know, you could just see the writing on the wall if you've got any kind of familiarity with, you know, how these kind of cases go. You know, I mean, I think she deserves answers. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves to know, but I think if you guys were to arrest some, you know, some kid who said that he was being initiated in a gang, she's going to be sad. That's not justice for her. Justice for her is being able to get Shanna. That's justice for her. Because in her mind, Shanna's the bad guy. She tormented him. She abused him emotionally. I mean, I see all the comments that go on, you know. I mean, but when you go to such extremes that you're attacking her business, you're attacking her family, you know what I mean? Like, it's getting a little much now.
So I mean, you said you've seen all the comments. You see what the people are saying. No, totally impossible, or
That Shanna had anything to do with this?
Shanna or Mario.
I don't see it. I spent a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've been with on Shanna's side for 8.5 years. There's nothing that happened in the marriage or the divorce that I have not been privy to. And, you know, Mario.
Because there was no love lost between Mario and Jared. He said on the couch and said.
Oh no, he did. He hated.
He hated him.
He hated what he did to him,
mm-hmm.
or to her. He hated how he treated the kids. You know what I mean? Because the story you're seeing in the news is not what the story that the kids were reporting.
Of course.
However, I also, and I always tell Shanna this, when you take your notes from little children who are trying to please you at your house and him at his house, you know, there's no telling what they were saying over there either.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, again, with the survival skills.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, you got a set of survival skills per house, depending on where you are, is what you say and what you don't say. And you know that you learn that at a very young age. You learn that. Mario likes his, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's got a cushy life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mario is selfish. I don't think he would sacrifice that for something like this.
Yeah.
Do I think he cried tears when he found out? No. I didn't ask, but...
I did, and he said no.
But my gut tells me he wouldn't, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, that would be Mario's kind of a play, you know? It's damn the good luck, you know what I mean? But I don't see it, you know? But again, you know what I mean? I'm just Shanna's friend. You know? I know that he, for however good or bad of an actual husband he is, he's a good friend to Shanna, and my gut tells me if it was anything that was going to bring this kind of heat on Shanna, which if you know Jared's family at all, everything was always Shanna's fault in the marriage, in the divorce, forevermore. It's all her fault.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that to her and those kids.
Right. And by the way, I'm just spitballing here.
Oh,
okay?
I know.
So,
I know.
So just
you and half the.
Let's just say that Mario decided one day he had enough. He was done with Jared, and he was not taking any more of his crap. And he went out and he did do that. Would Shanna distance herself from him?
100%.
Or would he protect her? Would she protect him?
She wouldn't. She would protect the kids. Always.
Yeah.
Kids are her priority.
Yeah.
No man.
And I can tell you, as many times as I've talked to her, I 100% believe that those children are her priority.
100%.
I 100% believe that.
Nothing is more important to her than them and their well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she thought he had anything to do with this, she'd have kicked him to the curb. He'd been gone.
Yeah.
That day. Like the second she found out.
Yeah.
There'd have been no plan. There'd have been he'd have been gone.
Yeah.
There'd have been no question.
9 months
Everything that we've
later,
talked about,
investigators
I know we talked
interviewed
about
Kim
Mario and
Jensen
Shanna
again.
and
By then,
Mario's tenant,
Henry Tenon had been
Jared.
arrested and publicly identified as a former tenant of Mario
Do you
Fernandez-Saldana.
think that it's possible
That
that
connection
Mario
changed the direction of the
had
conversation.
Tenon do this?
Detectives
Is it
were
even
no
a
longer
possibility?
asking Kim only about the divorce or the
I don't see what the
relationship between Jared
benefit
and
would be.
Shanna.
Mhm.
And
They wanted to
Mario's
know
a very
whether she
selfish
believed
person.
Mario could
Mario
have been
doesn't do much
involved
that doesn't benefit
and
him.
what he might have gained
I
from
just
Jared's
don't
death.
see
Kim continued
what
to
benefit
defend Shanna,
would be.
but when
You know what I mean?
investigators
That-
pressed her on
that's
Mario,
from-
her answers revealed the
Everything with
question at the
Mario
center
has a
of the
benefit.
case.
So why did he
What
marry
would his
Shanna?
motive
Was it
have been?
financial? He never told me that, but that was a benefit. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't. He just seems like that. Like he's.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. I just don't see the benefit, and I've spun out about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've thought it through in my head, and I'm like, you know, what does he gain?
Mhm.
What does he gain by doing this? Because all it has done is blown up Shanna's life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she would much rather be squabbling between emails
Yeah.
than what she's dealing with.
I bet.
There's no benefit to this.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree, and I have run it through my head as well. What have you come up with other than that? Like, I know you said you were running it through your head.
Well, I mean, I just try to think of things, you know what I mean? Like I told you, like I just try to look at all the pieces that are out there, and I don't listen to her noise because she unnerves me. And she, you know, this whole thing with her has just been, Shanna did it, you know what I mean? She's been saying that since what, a month after? It's all been, you know what I mean? How the acrimonious and this and that. You only know what he told you. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway, I can't figure out the Henry guy. That one, like, that was not what I was expecting. Well, I mean, when I saw him, like, yeah, I mean, you kind of look like a criminal, but like, he just didn't look smart enough to pull this off to me. You know what I mean? If this was not some rando, which it appears that it wasn't random to some degree with you know the pieces that are out there, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. In my head, I don't know what I expected it to be, but I didn't expect it to be that.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. You said it doesn't appear to be random, and then we have these logical connections that are being made. So just, what is your heart telling you?
I don't know. I mean, in my logical mind, I think if Mario did this, you'd have called one of your military sniper buddies, and it'd have been quick, easy, and nobody would have known the difference. And he thinks militaristically. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, this guy that I saw, like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's almost like a really bad optic coincidence, because I just don't see.
What is your heart telling you?
What is my heart telling
Yeah.
me? My heart's telling me that I know that with the news and the media and everything that, you know, it looks like, you know, there's got to be a connection because Mario's tenant, but at the same time, I don't see what it benefited him. And even from what I know, like, of him as a person, which is not near what I know of Shanna, you know what I mean? He was always just, like, in the background, like, we were acquaintances. Shanna and I were best friends. I just feel like if he was responsible for this, he would have chosen differently. That guy did not exude a lot of confidence in me that this was Mario's plan. Yeah. Not to mention the fact I still can't come up with the benefit. How does this benefit Mario? For me, that's where my head goes. Is
well, we still don't understand the benefit of marrying Shanna. You know.
I mean, I do think he liked her.
Yeah.
And I do think he even grew. I mean, I think he loved her. I mean, I heard him say, you know, love you, babe. You know what I mean? That was, you know what I mean? But, like, he just, I don't know. There's some guys you think, oh, you know, you'd be a great husband. You're the marrying kind. And then there's other ones you think, you'd be better single. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to follow the rules. You'd be better single. You know what I mean? And when you got a wandering zipper, to me, you should be better single.
I think that's the best way I've ever heard that.
Yeah, that's,
I've never heard
hold
that
on.
before.
Give me one moment.
Wandering.
That's
the first.
All right. Now, do you mind if I quote you on that one
Right.
later on down the road when I make that joke at a bar or something? You know, like.
Feel free.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think that was the thing. My biggest question was, you know, he just. I feel like for him, you know what I mean? Like, because if he didn't have a military background, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, you always think, everyone's seen American Sniper. You know what I mean? It's like, surely you got that friend that's a sniper. You know what I mean? Right? I don't know. I've never been in the military. I got a brother who was, you know? But I just think if you were in the military, like, there's way better ways, you know?
Well, I mean, I think
not to make myself sound like a criminal, because I really
that's
haven't.
assuming that there's a lot of criminals in the military, which...
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying sometimes
But you're
they
also
get...
asking a sniper who, yes, they have the ability...
Well, yeah, but would
the
they?
skill set.
And would they do that for you? What
Right.
are you going to do for me if I do that? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's my...
Exactly, like you said. Like, there's the give and the take.
Right, and that's my thing. What does that give Mario? You were getting divorced before this. What does him gone? He was going to be gone from your life if you're not in hers. You know what I mean? Like, what's the benefit? You you didn't make anything, you know what I mean? Like, this didn't make anything better. This made everything worse.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see that. Well, you know, we're still digging into it, so.
Kim Jensen's interviews reveal less about what happened on the night Jared was killed than they do about the relationship surrounding the case. She had known Jared and his family for years. But by the time of his death, she was one of Shanna Gardner's closest friends and one of her strongest defenders. Her account provides important context for the divorce, the custody conflict, and the hostility she believed existed between the former couple. But it also shows how firmly Kim viewed the case through Shanna's perspective.
You asked.
Yeah.
I was honest.
My thoughts are that I will stay open-minded and we'll look at everything that comes in.
Kim's statements neither prove nor disprove
No, we'll get
the
it for you. That's all
allegations
right.
against Shanna Gardner. They are the account of one woman who knew both sides
Do you want any more
of the
water
coin,
before we go?
but whose loyalty clearly remained with Shanna. As the
You want a
investigation
little bit
continued,
left?
detectives would move beyond personal history and toward financial records, phone data, and the alleged connections between Shanna, Mario Fernandez-Saldana, and Henry Tenon. But Kim Jensen's interviews remain a rare look at the case from inside Shanna Gardner's closest circle.